President Donald Trump on Thursday saying that it's outrageous for him to make comments about the case to trial. And so he already pegged this murder suspect supposedly as being an illegal immigrant. And so I said in the previous video that the president was going to use a hardline stance on immigration based on this killing. And he did, actually. So Trump saying that he's guilty because he's an illegal without a hearing. Okay, so said the attorney Alan Richards, speaking to the Des Moines Register. It's outrageous. The president was among a chorus of critics who chastised Rivera and Iowa officials for allowing him to live and work in the country illegally after the Department of Homeland Security confirmed that 24-year-old, this guy, that he had been here, that he was not an illegal immigrant. Now, it's going to go into a little bit of who this guy is. Richards, however, claims that the young man is a Mexican immigrant living in the U.S. legally. Okay, so it says it claims, but he has yet to be provided any evidence to prove this. So right now, these are arguments going back and forth about this person's status. So you heard about today with the illegal alien coming in from, very sadly, from Mexico. And so this was a quote or a saying from Trump. He said this in his rally in West Virginia, and this was on Tuesday night. So the laws are so bad, he added, the immigration laws are such a disgrace. We need a wall. And so you know that's coming from President Donald Trump himself. So Richards told the Des Moines Register on Thursday that by making immigration the issue, there's going to be a predetermination that his client is illegal and therefore he must have done the crime. So I don't understand how you can say somebody's illegal until you have your day in court. So we don't know specifics entirely yet. So that is already being used as a talking point in terms of a hardline stance on the political issues surrounding immigration, which I knew right away when I saw the story, the way they were airing it, that it was going to be, looked at as an issue. The way, the climate of the attitudes of people on this case. So it says, I think he's just using it as a political thing that in his mind, as a sad and sorry as he is, that this wall thing is what has got him elected. And he's going to insist on it. But the wall doesn't stop the flow of people coming. So Richard said that there's no way Rivera can get a fair trial in Paus. Now, I guess this is the name of the place out. I guess it's maybe in Iowa or Iowa County or wherever close to where the incident happened. So they're saying, in other words, that this suspect is not going to get a fair trial because already the president has a hardline stance on the whole issue surrounding immigration. And so the face of immigration is anybody that is, in the Latin community, that if you do something wrong, such as this incident here, that he'll quickly go into his tirade on how they should build the wall and the whole 9 yards. Anyway, it says, that Richard said that there's no way that Rivera can get a fair trial in Poweshiek County. So, excuse me if I mispronounced that name. Where he allegedly abducted and murdered Tibbetts last month, with all the things being said about him by politicians and public figures. So a lot of people are very angry about this whole incident. And so, especially the people in that community, they really did a lot trying to look for the young lady. And there are a lot of upset people about this suspect. And all I'm indicating is that he's presumed innocent, Richard said. And the state's burden is to present some facts. So he's basically the lawyer representing Rivera in the case. And so he feels that he should have a fair trial or his day in court. Habeas corpus is what it's called. Before he's already, given the fair trial, he's already being convicted, publicly by political figures such as Donald Trump. So that's pretty much this video right here. It's just one of those things that adds more fuel or coal to the fire, so to speak. And he's already angry, the president, about the whole issue behind, once again, mentioning that whole issue behind Mueller and Mike Cohen. And so some people think that he's using this incident to highlight so it can deflect people's attention off of his problem, in the White House and what's going on right now. We're given this hush money, and all of this attention is off of him to be on to this one guy and what happened in Iowa, unfortunately. And so that's what is being said about all of this. And so it makes it a really sticky situation and a very ugly situation because people are very outraged by this whole thing. And they're also additionally outraged by the fact that he's bringing up, the political stance on building a wall and using this as a political pull or push to further his campaign venture. So anyway, with that being said, there's also more to this story as well, because a family member actually responded to this whole incident. And it was Mollie Tibbetts' aunt who spoke amid Donald Trump's comments. And so she's also put out her own take on this whole issue. And it says that Mollie Tibbetts' relatives speak out as Trump uses murder as a talking point. And it says evil comes in every color, which I have to agree with that. I totally 100% agree with that comment, because it doesn't matter who you are and what background, the evil is evil. And it doesn't matter what community you come from. If you're a bad person and you're doing wrong, it doesn't have to be one group of people. So on Tuesday, a relative of Iowa College State, or college student for Mollie Tibbetts appeared to publicly rebuke pundits and politicians, including the President Donald Trump, who have used Tibbetts' slang as a talking point on the ongoing debate. Okay, so they're rebuking those talking points because they're not viewing this as a political push. They want justice for the murder of their loved one. They're not looking at this as being something of a political pull to further, political agenda. So please remember, evil comes in every color. This is by Billy Joe Calderwood, who wrote on Facebook on Tuesday night, only a few hours after authorities announced that the 20-year-old Tibbetts' remains had been found about. And so Calderwood described in a various media report as Tibbetts' aunt later shared another user's post which stated in part, "Please do not compound the atrocity of what happened to her by adding racism and hate to the equation. Do not turn hashtag Mollie's movement into something ugly." She was apparently referencing the fact that Trump and others, such as the Iowa governor, have spoken out in political terms about Tibbetts' suspect killer, 24-year-old Christian Rivera, whom authorities said is an undocumented immigrant. So at a rally on Tuesday, Trump invoked the killing in a starkly electoral language. You heard about today with the illegal alien coming in very sadly from Mexico, and you saw what happened to that incredible, beautiful young woman. He said, should have never happened. The laws are so bad that the immigration laws are such a disgrace. We're getting it changed, but we have to get more Republicans. So it's totally politics in this statement. It's not really in regard to the fact that there's a loss of life to people who have grieved and there are grieving a loved one that they had been searching for so long to find. And then sadly, the outcome was not a good one. So a video posted Wednesday, Trump spoke even more directly, referencing his longstanding pledge to erect a southern border wall. We need a wall, and that's his hardline stance, is building the wall. That's aren't going to do it. So Trump has routinely showcased examples of undocumented immigrants charged with violent crimes, riling up his base. Those statistics cited by the Pew Research Center show immigrants do not commit crimes more than native-born Americans, so to speak. So some of those following Tibbetts' case online have used strident, even racist language for Rivera. And so it goes on to further say, however, a manager at Urabi Farms, where Rivera had worked for 4 years, said he was employed under another name using an out-of-state government ID, and it was matching a social security card according to the Associated Press. And so that's where the whole illegal immigrant thing came up. Because why would you use an ID associated to someone else? It would give you the impression that the person that doesn't have a legal ID, or maybe he has a record and so he's trying to use somebody else's identity as well. So Rivera is not who he says he was. The manager, Dane Lang, told the AP, Associated Press. A U.S. immigration official further told AP that they don't have records showing he was legally admitted into the country. Okay? And so that's why in the other article, Donald Trump used that whole thing as the hardline stance. So Lang said an earlier statement from the farm that they had used the federal E-Verify system to confirm that Rivera eligibility to work in the U.S. was incorrect, according to the AP. Instead, he said that they checked Rivera's Social Security card against the Social Security Administration system. It remains unclear when exactly Tibbetts was killed and how well she may have known the suspected murderer, if at all. And so authorities allege Rivera abducted and murdered her after they crossed paths while he was out on her, well, she was out on her jog. And so this is her picture. She was a college student, and this is the suspected killer. So he's under custody right now of authorities. So while the state authorities said Rivera was an undocumented immigrant, his attorney, Alan Richards, argued in a court filing Wednesday that this is not the case, that the Des Moines Register reports. According to the paper, Richard filed a motion seeking a gag order in which he stated that Rivera is in the jurisdiction legally. Okay. So sad and sorry, Trump has weighed in on the matter, which will poison the entire possible pool of jury members, Richard said in his motion. So he reiterated that the complaint during Rivera's initial court appearance later Wednesday, where he urged the judge to exclude the media from these proceedings. So portraying Christian as something that he isn't, I view this as a political payback for what's swirling around, Richard said, because it's all over the media, all over social media and everywhere. He also noted that Rivera, who has not yet entered a plea, has no prior criminal record and is presumed innocent. Richard said Rivera first came to the U.S. as a minor. And this is him pictured here. And this is Mollie Tibbetts here underneath. So Sarah Huckabee Sanders, as we know her from the White House, she's the press secretary, echoed the Trump's rally statement in her comments at the daily press briefing on Wednesday, calling Tibbetts' death an unfortunate reminder of why we need to strengthen our immigration laws. So Kim Reynolds, Iowa's governor, reportedly said much the same in her own statement. We are angry that a broken immigration system allowed a predator like this to live in our community, and we will do all we can to bring justice to Mollie's killer. So in a Facebook post on Tuesday night, Calderwood wrote that our family has been blessed to be surrounded by love, friendship, and support throughout the entire ordeal by friends from all different nations and races. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you. So second cousin also speaks. Sam Lucas, identified as Tibbetts' second cousin, on Tuesday posted a series of passion tweets replying to conservative activists and commentators. Candace Owens as well. Owens had written in part, Mollie Tibbetts was killed by an illegal immigrant, and there will be zero outrage from Democrats and the spineless celebrities who march to their orders because they need open borders for votes. Lucas, who didn't immediately respond to people's requests for comment, wasn't happy about reading her cousin's name in the context. So we are not so effing small-minded that we generalize a whole population based on some bad individuals, Lucas wrote in a tweet that has since gone viral. Now stop being an effing snake and using my cousin's death as political propaganda and take her name out of your mouth. Thank you for saying that, because I'm not that crazy about this young woman up here, Candace Owens. So, which she tries to build a right-wing what she calls right-wing freethinker following all over the net. So it goes on to say, an FYI, at the real Candace O, my whole family is hurting right now, and you're not helping. That's true. She continued in another tweet, you're despicable, and this is so far from the loving and kind soul that Mollie was. My prayers go out to you in hopes that maybe you'll become a better person. Not hedging my bets, though. That's very mean of her to do that. So Owens responded, okay, I genuinely wish you healing, closure, and love. What happened to your second cousin is unspeakably terrible. I am not your enemy and am somewhat confused by your sentiments. Godspeed. So Tibbetts, a 20-year-old psychology student entering her second year at the University of Iowa, vanished on July 18th. So she had been set to attend a destination wedding for her boyfriend's brother about 2 weeks later. So following confirmation of her death this week, Tibbetts' family said in a brief statement that they were grief-stricken but grateful for the community's support. And they did not reference her accused killer. Not even once. But we know that many of you will join us, and we continue to carry Mollie in our hearts forever, they said. Okay, so that's pretty much the article right there. I had to give the response article because I didn't want to do what Miss Candace Owens did. So it was best to also give you reference of what the family members, second cousin, and the auntie, how their feelings were on the stance of this whole thing. They're not in agreement with using it as a political push at all. And so, anyway, this is pretty much the remainder of the article. It comes at a very tumultuous time between two individuals, and then the political stance that people have been using. Despite all of that, the family members are looking for, time to grieve. So anyway, I will go back to the other article. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. It's just an unfortunate situation that, despite all of this, I still think they will use this as a political move. Even though the family members are not in agreement with that, I still feel that they will be hardline stance on that whole issue, even though the family members are not looking for that. And so it comes at a time when people are looking for some closure in the whole matter. And so this is the article right here. And so the original article that I was looking at, and the lawyer out of the New York Post, how he blasts Trump. So there hasn't been any, sounds like there's some debating back and forth on that whole issue. But anyway, with that being said, this is the closure of this video. Thank you for listening.